The 1st of October every year is celebrated as Nigeria's independence anniversary. The day commemorates the country's independence from British colonial rule on the 1st of October 1960, marking a historic milestone in its struggle for political and economic freedom and sovereignty.
As we reflect on the significance of this day and our journey of nationhood since October 1960, when our founding fathers accepted the instrument of self-government from colonial rule, let us remember that their sacrifice, devotion, and grand dream of a strong, prosperous, and united Nigeria that will lead Africa and be the beacon of light to the rest of the world.
The National Day celebration is a significant reminder of the hard-won freedom and the collective responsibility of citizens to cherish and preserve it. As the country celebrates its 65th independence anniversary, opinions are divided about its significance.
In 65 years since our independence, we have made tremendous progress in economic growth, social cohesion, and physical development. Our economy has experienced significant growth since 1960, although it is much easier for those whose vocation is to focus solely on what ought to be. We must recognize and celebrate our significant progress.
For the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, the anniversary celebration remains significant.
It's been a long journey, a very dogged one. Countries that had independence with us in 1960, Bangladesh, so many others, many of them have broken up. And Nigeria continues to be one country. The resilience is something that needs to be applauded. And instead of any form of, or any inkling of division, Nigeria is bonding together, despite the fact that, tribes and tongues may differ. And ethnic groups are many. There are religious differences here and there. But this country has continued to work stronger. And from the way things are today, even with the current administration, you'll see that Nigeria will celebrate many more years, many more decades in future as one indivisible country.
From economic, social to political, the challenges of nationhood remains enormous. Hence, the theme for this year's celebration, Nigeria at 65, all hands on deck for a greater nation. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF George Akume, is of the opinion that every citizen has a role to play.
Everyone, every citizen has a role to play in advancing our march to progress, our march to unity, and above all, our march to prosperity. It is not just what government alone can do. All of us have a role to play, whether it is in the area of security or it is in the area of economy. These issues are germane to establishing a viable, stable, and prosperous nation. So all hands must be on deck to ensure that this country is united, to ensure that our path to greatness is not full of meanders.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, asserted that the focus should not be the government,
The presidency of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is about unification, it's about consolidation, it's about bringing everyone together. So this theme is deliberately, intentionally chosen to show that the issue of the independence of this country is not just about any particular administration. It is about the people of Nigeria. It is about Nigeria as a whole. It is about our shared history, our culture, our tradition, our prosperity, and the destination that the president wants to drive us there to. So what the president is trying to say is that we need to all come together, every Nigerian, irrespective of whatever interest, whatever affiliation, whatever thing you believe or don't believe in. It is time for all of us to come together as a nation to uplift it, to take it to the desired destination. And that is why that theme was particularly chosen. We want to break away from this thinking that the independence anniversary is about government. It's about those or that administration that is in authority at any given time. This time around, the independence anniversary is supposed to be about the whole of Nigeria. Supposed to be about the whole of the people of Nigeria. Everyone has a stake in there. And this is consistent with the vision and with the policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu since he took office in May of 2023.
The administration inherited an economy in shambles.
Our administration inherited a near-collapse economy caused by decades of fiscal policy distortions and misalignment that had impaired real growth. As a new administration, we face a simple choice: continue business as usual and watch our nation drift, or embark on a courageous fundamental reform path. We chose the path of reform. We chose the path of tomorrow over the comfort of today. Less than 3 years later, the seeds of those difficult but necessary decisions are bearing fruits.
The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, described President Bola Tinubu as a thinker who is mobilizing Nigerians for national development rather than engaging in blame game.
He doesn't want blame game. In his words, he said if he wins the election, and by God's grace he won, and he repeated it after he won, he said, I inherit the asset and liabilities of the past. So no blame game. But we are not where we want to be. And part of not where we want to be was that our educational sector is not where it wants to be. Our security, our infrastructure is not where we want to be. Our health sector, our agriculture. Why? Because historically we have underinvested in almost everything. And that underinvestment resulted in low revenues. His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu realized all this, and he said, I'm not going to play blame game, but what is before us is to mobilize Nigerians so that we take those choices that will encourage and ensure Nigeria achieve those improvements that the world is expecting of us, and that are missed opportunities. And therefore, he undertook those reforms.
By a show of doggedness and bold reforms, the president has steered the ship out of danger.
The National Bureau of Statistics released results of the gross domestic product for the quarter, and it shows that Nigeria has achieved an over 4% growth for the first time in over 20 years. Secondly, last week, the National Bureau of Statistics equally released a report showing that food prices are falling and therefore inflation is falling. And just yesterday, the Central Bank of Nigeria, for the first time again in the last 2 years, reduced interest rates. These are all evidence of an economy that has turned around and growing.
While many citizens believe that Nigeria is still far from the desired destination 65 years after independence in 1960, it is not all doom for the country.
I'm pleased to report that we have finally turned the corner. The worst is over, I say. Yesterday's pains are giving way to relief. I salute your endurance, support, and understanding. I will continue to work for you and justify the confidence you repose in me to steer the ship of our nation to a safer harbor.
Our revenue to GDP ratio have moved from under 9% to about 15%, which is very, very significant, being that it's under 2 years. Our growth has, like I said earlier, is now over 4%, and he's not satisfied. He wants a higher rate of growth. He has challenged all of us, and we are targeting almost a double-digit growth by the year 2030, because we want to build at least $1 trillion economy by 2030.
The administration is intensifying its social intervention scheme to assist vulnerable Nigerians. One of such is the Nigeria Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, which has disbursed 99.5 billion naira to more than 510 students in the federal government student loan initiative as at the 27th of September.
If you look at his policies, there is a renewed focus on the youth of this country. Take, for example, the issue of NEL Fund. For the first time in the history of this country, the president has said nobody will be left out of school. No school-going young man or woman will be left out of school simply on the account of the fact that his parent or his guardian is unable to pay for his school fees. The program started a little over a year ago. As we speak, over 500,000 Nigerian youth that are of school going, polytechnics, universities, are able to go to school now because they have their tuitions paid for. They also have their upkeep paid for by government. This is unprecedented. As we speak, over 100 billion naira has already been committed to that.
Look at NEL Fund, first of its kind. Over 6 countries have come to Nigeria to study that aspect of the system, where you advance loans to very cheap. It's working, and fine too.
Less privileged children now can access higher education because of the students' loans scheme that he has brought together. And that was also something that when he presented to the parliament, the two parliaments, the House of Representatives and the Senate, bought into it and ensured that it was passed expeditiously. And then he assented that into Acts of Parliament. A lot of people, if such were available in the past, would have had higher education, their lives would have been better. And of course, they would have been able to also contribute to nation building.
Another intervention is a conditional cash transfer scheme through which the federal government has paid 330 billion naira to poor Nigerians from the National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office.
We are increasingly investing in those at the lower end of the income strata, people who are either struggling to earn a living or people who are even do not have an income. So transfers have increased, investments are increasing.
A new tax reform law is in operation, and many government officials said the country is already reaping the benefits and other economic policies.
Some of our taxes were as far back as 1936, some 1901. So some of them almost, I would say, almost 30% of our laws predates independence in 1960. So today, he has done his best to try to amalgate most of those things, particularly in the economic sector. And now more money is coming into the economy. I think this is the first administration that is able to pay salaries and then pay states and pay Federation account the fact without crude oil input. And now even the crude oil is beginning to come in. At least I know in the last month that they also met their own input.
We have also engaged in financial engineering within the law, lawfully, in order to encourage investors to put their money into our country. And we are seeing a lot of that. Mr. President did not stop there. He made it clear that he will support Nigerian private sector, and he demonstrated it to the extreme by even adopting a crude naira for crude policy, where he says anybody who is willing to refine crude in Nigeria can even buy crude oil in naira. And that, among other incentives, has enabled the takeoff of the 650,000 barrels per day Dangote refinery, in addition to other small-scale refineries.
The administration has also embarked on ambitious infrastructure development projects capable of transforming Nigeria.
Lagos to Calabar, the new towns will emerge, more lands will come under cultivation, lives are going to be saved, tourism will be boosted, just like the Sokoto Badagry superhighway. More towns coming up, over 62 dams are going to be created, over 2 million hectares of land will be available for farming. It's something that is a record.
At independence in 1960 and the First Republic, agriculture was the mainstay of the country's economy. The current administration is implementing policies to restore the lost glory of the country in agriculture. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Bank of Agriculture, Ayo Shotiri, is optimistic that the administration's agriculture policies are making an impact.
We've come a long way. For us, it has shown how, the President at the helm of affairs, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, GCFR, has moved the agriculture sector from being subsistence to, what it is right now. As you know, he was the one who started the Smallholder Farmer Fund program, which we are ramping up to $1 billion now, which is about 1.5 trillion. What that means, in essence, is farmers can now get access to credit, which forms, one of our food security fund in Nigeria, meaning we can move a farmer from producing 1 ton per hectare to 10 tons per hectare. It means instead of making $1 million, a farmer can now start to make 10 million. And we're not talking, just 100,000 farmers. We're talking over 20 million farmers that will be affected by, this policy. The second one is developing farm estates across the country. As you know, one of the policies of this administration is the Renewed Hope Tree Crop Program, 1 million hectares. What that means is we're going to develop, the new, oil blocks in Nigeria within the agriculture sector, where we plant en masse across the country oil palm, cocoa, rubber, cashew, in different farm estates in over 1 million hectares of land. What that does for Nigeria is it helps us increase our revenue from agriculture within just that tree crop sector to over $10 billion every year, almost competing with oil and gas. So, how much can I say? There's a mechanization policy where the president is buying over 10,000 tractors. There is, the fertilizer liberalization that he's done. There is a seed fund to get better seeds that he has done as well. So for me, it's all joy galore, for Nigeria at 65.
On the global stage, the country is beginning to attract more recognition and support, thanks to the aggressive economic diplomacy efforts of President Tinubu.
Mr. President, in his engagement with the world, is doing so many things at the same time. He's leading the diplomacy himself. He is leading the marketing of the country himself. And we are seeing value in that, because in addition to the positive responses and positive comments from countries, multilateral institutions, development partners. We have seen high-profile visits to Nigeria by a number of leaders, European leaders, Asian leaders, who all come and they restate not only their support for our country, but appreciation of the courage that Mr. President has demonstrated in taking all the steps that he took.
The Senate President insists that the President is renewing the hope of Nigerians in collaboration with the National Assembly.
It takes two hands to clap. So the National Assembly is structured in a way that the Senate and the House of Representatives must concur before any bill is sent to Mr. President for assent, before that can become an act of Parliament. And we have done our best working with the President, working with his vision. He came with a vision of reforming Nigeria. He came with a vision of empowering the youths of Nigeria. He came with a vision of ensuring that the wrongs of the past were corrected. And I can assure you that he has done his best.
This plurality is a source of strength. And that's what I say, our diversity is a source of strength. It shouldn't be any fault line there whatsoever. The central thing is what? Believing in our country as an entity that protects all, irrespective of religion, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of political persuasion.
On this threshold of the 65th Independence Anniversary celebration, many leaders believe that the task of nation building must be advanced.
People keep talking about those ideas that our founding fathers have laid. Now, what have we done to now continue in that direction? How many Azikiwes have we built? How many Sardaunas have we replicated? How many Awolos, have we given birth to? Now, the ideals that those people, the founding fathers, represented, the ideal of ensuring that there's healthy competition among all parts of this country so that Nigeria can be seen to be a very prosperous place to live in.
The need to protect the image of Nigeria is also paramount.
We should be mindful of the nature of what we churn out there because it can affect Nigeria's rating. Nigerians should also protect the image of Nigeria. Nigerians should also protect even the rating, the financial rating of Nigeria, because some of the things we throw out there, when you find out that most of them are false, at the end, people will use that to judge the country, and then they can make life difficult for people.
The administration is appealing to Nigerians for more patience as President Tinubu continues to implement policies for economic prosperity.
It has indeed been tough, and he saluted severally the resilience of Nigerians in supporting him even when this is being navigated. But today, we can see that the economy has turned the corner. Nigerians are smiling. Look at our GDP today. From 2.51% in the second quarter of 2023, we're at over 4.3% today of the GDP. That is unprecedented. Our non-oil export has grown exponentially, over 20% growth in less than 2 years. And this is just in focus on just a few areas. So as the president continues to navigate, to continue to put these policies into practice, we will see that Nigeria indeed will become a prosperous country that is less dependent on our traditional source of income, the oil. Yes, even as we are doing that for the oil, we are, of course, building a healthy and resilient economy.
These are policies that would have been put in place 30 years ago. They're being put in place now, and they are yielding results. Tomorrow, Nigeria will laugh last.
I'm very proud to give you the cheering news that the economy has turned the corner. There's a bright light at the end of the tunnel. Your suffering is a pain of a painful surgery. But it's now returned to the moment of growth and prosperity is awaiting us ahead. Thank you for your endurance. Thank you for your understanding.
65 years after attainment of independence in 1960, the citizens can hope for a better future as Nigeria continues its march to greatness.
Let all hands be on deck. Let us believe once more in the boundless potential of our great nation. With Almighty God on our side, I can assure you that the dawn of a new, prosperous, self-reliant is here in Nigeria. Happy 65th Independence Anniversary.
Happy 65th Independence Day celebration to Mr. President and the people of Nigeria.
Happy 65th Independence Anniversary to our President and all Nigerians.
Happy 65th Independence Day to Mr. President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and, my fellow Nigerians.
It is my honor and privilege to wish Mr. President happy 65th anniversary and the good people of this country, the great Nigerian people. Continue to have faith in your government, in your country. Continue to believe, and strongly too, that tomorrow is going to be better than today.
Let me use this opportunity to wish the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, a happy 65th Independence Anniversary, and through him wish all Nigerians a happy 65th anniversary, and pray that God Almighty will continue to bond us together, keep us together to see more decades of togetherness as Nigerians.